Hello, folks. Introducing DietCode, the world's first AI architect. So, what I mean by that, DietCode uses joy zoning principles. What joy zoning is essentially a concept to produce output without waste. In order to do that, we separate and tell the agent to separate things into several different layers. One, domain, which, as in the logs here, is pure game logic. This is an example from a Tetris run. Core, infrastructure, UI, and plumbing. So the reason why DietCode was produced this way is a lot of times agents have this number one failure mode. Spend credits, spend tokens without any sort of grounding. Traditional agents will spin off into the distance, causing you time wasted, money wasted, and effort and spaghetti code. A lot of times when users are interacting with agents, they're unaware of these failure modes and just will keep spinning the wheel. It's another time, another turn, another turn. By the time you're done with it, your turn ends up costing you, could be anywhere from $60 to a couple $100. But with concrete planning and concrete principles, this reduces the waste and saves you time and your valuable money. Credit where it's due, DietCode is a fork of Klein. The ancestral fork, or branch, rather. Klein, think of it as the vanilla version of DietCode. It gets the job done. It's a fast, effective agent. I wouldn't say that either or are better. It's just different tools for different jobs. DietCode is specifically made in mind for non-technical users who are not in the nitty-gritty every single day with architectural planning, PRs, and such. This is specifically catered towards individual solo users. If we took a look at Tetris run, this was only a single run. I only produced one prompt, which was produce a Tetris-style game using so-and-so type stack. Needs to be complete end to end. And notice, I didn't say, world class, best thing, whatever. I just very simple, straightforward prompt. So, what the agent did was create a plan and did it autonomously. This is something that has not been seen so far, which planning is not a brand new type of engineering process for the agent, but this time what's super interesting is that it will audit itself before it even creates any single line of code. So while it's auditing it itself, so it creates different types of plans and actions before presenting it to the user, what ends up happening? It synthesizes and creates a concrete plan of evidence. Going through the Tetris game architectural plan using the joy zoning principles. If you're familiar with coding, think of DietCode as the Django of AI agents. Django is the most opinionated framework and language when coding. There are things that you only do the Django way, and the same with DietCode. The agent, instead of it being a generalist and being super good at everything, but not strong at anything. Essentially the jack of all trades. This is a singular agent focused and super strong on one specific task. Making sure that the user is able to produce tangible output as one single developer. Keep in mind, again, some of the drawbacks of this, it would be, one, this requires that the code base is, and the developers and the engineers on your team are a little bit more comfortable with an opinionated type of architecture. But for somebody, again, that is a little bit more non-technical, somebody that is kind of in between, this manages the obligations and responsibilities from a single user. As we can see here, one of the core things that makes DietCode stand out is that it has this ability to create what is called an architectural smell. It does this by creating tags and layers, as you can see from the code itself. The core and domain and infrastructure and creates the utilities and such. It does this all automatically. It creates and deletes any sort of variants through what is called a shadow engine. So before it writes the code, it creates these predictive drift detection. But getting away from the nitty-gritty, that was just a very, brief overview. We're not going to be talking about the internals, the AI architecture. That is only a simple overview. Next, what ends up happening when DietCode produces a class? It produces a score which grades the layer and grades the architecture to prevent drift and technical debt. As you can see here, you can see the passes, you can see the turns. And again, it's still operating and creating these things by itself. Remember, I only said one prompt. And it will just keep going. It'll keep moving. It'll keep nudging itself. It will keep going. So what's the end product and how long does this take? This run took about 3 to 10 minutes. Normally, it's actually really difficult to have an agent create and produce a singular game because games are very complicated. They have different types of game states. They have different types of functions. They have different types of state management tools. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. But as you can see here, it correctly implemented it by itself. It corrected itself. And it audited itself. And it did the things. And as you can see, it's working flawlessly. We have a demo of the game right here. So we're going to open it up. And let me switch to my other screen. All right, so here we have Tetris. And then you can see you can rotate objects, the Tetrinos. And there we go, see? State management, there's no collision, errors, it's not crashing. And you can play the game as if you were playing any other Tetris style game. And you can see it's keeping track of the score. Alright. Let's keep playing the game, see. We get a line clear here. Alright, so do a basic line clear here. Then boom, as you see, it created the task and implemented successfully. DietCode is available on wherever you get your VSCODE extensions. So that could be VSCODE, it could be anti-gravity, it could be Cursor, it could be wherever you use your IDE of choice. Thank you, and have a good one, folks.